Well, hello and welcome back to the Not Just Sundays podcast. We are so excited to be back with you for another month. And I'm joined, as always, by Kaleb Chockley. What's up, man?
What up?
How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm excited for today's guest.
Yeah. Why don't you go ahead and intro him and we can do a little getting started.
Marty B.
Alrighty.
Okay, my stepbrother.
You guys twins or?
Well, actually, I'm glad you asked because this is my favorite story of all time. Not really, but you introduced me and Marty when I first started coming to FBC.
So
if
your
you remember
friendship
this.
is because of me.
Yeah, essentially.
Okay.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That's
and
right.
then, like, the next week, you were like, hey, you two have very similar personalities, except Marty's, like, 90 years older or whatever. And so
I did say that exactly.
I was like, okay, yeah, we clicked. It was great. And then the next week we were standing there, and Mike Steinhoff came up and was like, how in the heck do you guys know each other? And Marty, without missing a beat, said, oh, he's my stepbrother. And I was like, dude, this guy is just me in an older form.
Yep.
And it was the best. From there, it's never slowed down.
No. But I don't even remember that story.
It was a good one.
Oh, okay, great.
We got lots of other good ones.
You held on to that.
Marty, we're really thankful to have you on the episode. I know your name and your face is probably recognizable to a lot of our guys at Fellowship, just because you and Tammy have been around for a good long time. But we're excited to have you back because you guys are not in Topeka anymore.
No, we are not.
Yeah.
We made the decision. In January, we moved to Lenexa. We have one grandchild currently. And we just wanted to be able to pour into him. And the hardest thing was leaving our family here. We had no other blood relatives in Topeka. But, man, we had such a great family here. And that was really hard. But I had told several people here that we just felt when we came to Fellowship 14, 15 years ago that we just didn't feel like God was, we didn't feel like this was our last place to land. And so we were excited to go. And the thing that we really appreciated was when we told people that we were leaving, they were excited for us and they supported us. Though they didn't, we had a lot of people say, we hate to see you go. But the thing that made us feel really good was that they were excited for what we were going to do. So got an opportunity. We're 10 minutes away from our grandson and
That rocks.
his parents, as we say. And it's awesome. It's
so
awesome.
good.
I kind of thought it was something I said
Probably.
when the news came out. I was like,
Yeah.
Actually, and interesting, we moved to Lenexa, and we're just outside of DeSoto, and we're like a mile from where Caleb and Jenna were wed.
That's right.
So that's
nice.
so cool. Because when we
Nice.
drove out there for the wedding, we were like, this is out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And then we moved there.
Still waiting on my invite to that wedding.
Yeah, it's
It's
passed.
Yeah. Dang.
Yeah.
That's a
You
bummer.
were
for
at
me.
that. You had
I'm
performed.
not just messing, dude.
Yeah, he did.
He was a key proponent.
It's like, no, I got to play a part. It was fun.
Yeah,
It was
you
fun.
did.
Just
On
like
time
we give
and
you a hard time. We had like nobody at ours. We had to disinvite like 300 people because of COVID. So it was
nice.
a heck of a time. It was great. Really cut down on costs.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was
Not much
fantastic.
food.
Yeah, no, not at
And
all.
Liam was heavy breathing on all the food anyway.
You're
so
darn right.
just, so it'd go further.
Yeah,
right.
we had 100% success rate in giving everybody food poisoning. No, I'm just kidding. No, Marty, we're grateful to have you back. Grateful that you were willing to make the trip. Even though, as we were saying before the episode, we did not send a chauffeur to come and pick you up and bring you to Topeka. But maybe we'll have you leave your car and we'll chauffeur you back, and then you can figure out how to get your car another
totally
time.
makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
But our big goal on the podcast is we're kind of just getting together with guys hearing stories. We want to hear about how, as you look back at your life, has the church equipped you to be intentional in your home, available in the world, and would love to just get a picture of what did coming to faith look like for you first, and then kind of how has that journey brought you to where you are today. And we'll just kind of interrupt you along the way and ask you a bunch of questions about your life and faith and family. And so start from the beginning.
Oh, man, the beginning. So I would tell you that my faith journey is probably pretty rocky. Grew up as a Methodist kid. We were never really involved in the church, but I knew Jesus and the love of Jesus, but I never understood anything about Jesus. And I would say after we were married, Tammy and I were married, we started attending more regularly. And still, as I look back, I thought I was faith-based. I thought, but there was a lot of things that proved me wrong.
Were you guys here in Northeast Kansas?
Yes,
or? Oh, okay.
We were in Topeka at a small church of about 300.
Okay.
Loved it, loved the people. Oddly, we were working at the church.
Oh.
And not serving. So we were working. Tammy was doing everything there, books, everything. And then I was kind of opening and closing the church. And that's what started actually us going to fellowship, was because we weren't having the time to praise God because we were working so much. So fellowship offered a Saturday service. So we came on Saturdays just so we could worship. And just absolutely, our eyes got open. We had never been to a Bible church. So things were a little bit different, hearing straight from the Word, and it was just pretty amazing to us. And we could feel our hearts being open to that. And so we made the hard decision, to move over to fellowship. Walking through that, I would say probably as we went through Rooted and things and talked to people, I always talk about some people have an awakening of their faith, like cymbals crashing,
just like dark to light moment, kind of.
And some people are blessed and have Christ in their life, their entire life. They know any different. And I would say mine was kind of in between that.
Okay.
I knew who Christ was and things, but I never felt His presence. And I went through an issue with my mother and cancer, and there was a time that I was extremely alone. After they had brought her out of surgery, and I was by myself. And I will never forget the comfort of Christ in my heart and on me at that moment. And it literally was like a warm blanket. And I think from then on, I knew things were different. And I give my oldest daughter, she sees it in me. And my wife, that she said, we were always faith-based, but she encourages me because she talks about seeing the transition for my wife and I and the devotion that we have to our faith now. So that's comforting when your children can see that in you.
I think that's one of the greatest testaments to real faith, is when the people who see you the most and oftentimes see you at your worst and your best can say, hey, I see this change happening in you.
Yeah, no doubt.
So that's awesome. That's huge testament to hear that from one of your kids.
Yeah. And both my daughters, I mean, they have definitely seen me at my worst.
Sure.
But both of them support us, and now we're attending church with our other daughter, our younger daughter, and her husband and our grandson. So it's just fantastic.
Was there a big, obviously they saw your transformation, as you say, but what is that as far as your prayer life, worship? How did that change when?
Oh, absolutely.
Or did it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, we had never truly got into the Word before. We would attend, and we've heard Joe say this. I've heard our other pastors say this. Is it doesn't work just coming in on Sunday. You really need to be in the Word. Whether it's just right now we're doing concentrating on a thing to where in the morning, rather than picking up your phone to read the news or anything, be in the Word. Whether it's a verse, a chapter, whatever that's
great.
Is on your heart. And then also journaling. You talk about what difference. I just absolutely love reading the Word, researching the Word, seeing commentary. Because of phones now, you have the ability. I love reading. I read in ESV, and then I'll change versions to see. Okay, where does this take me? What does this make me question and dive deeper into this? So I love the commentary, daily devotion. Probably not, I will be honest with you, leaving fellowship, we haven't been in the devotional as much, but we're seeing that come back now. And there's some things that we're doing now that have made me, I was just thinking the other day, we have a prayer room in our home that we sit and just some quiet time.
Amazing.
Oh, we love it.
You still have the white chairs?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
Comfy.
Okay. I want to pause and I want to ask about this prayer room.
Yeah.
Where did this idea come from?
I think it was one of like War Room or one of the movies that we had watched at that time. Courageous or something. I can't remember which one it was, but we looked at that because I think she was going into a closet and praying, you know,
As
the old
War
John
Room,
Wesley, you know, I mean, go into, you know, and with Tammy's battled cancer for 14 years now. Yesterday was her 393rd or 293rd treatment.
Wow.
Such a soldier. But when she was going through cancer, we were just finding an area where we could be calm and quiet. And so it's an office, it's a bedroom.
Yeah.
And we just made it into an area. It's got 2 chairs, a desk, of course, all of our commentary information.
Sure.
And every journal we've ever wrote is in there.
I love that idea.
And it's calming.
Yeah.
It's calming. And the nice thing is if we have somebody that's struggling, a friend or a relative, Kaleb and I have sat in there, we just go in and it's different than your living room or the kitchen or.
Oh yeah.
It's
something
amazing.
that I've thought about a lot is how like, and I don't know if this is the right way to put it, but how like spatially motivated I am. Like if a space is for work or a space is for relaxation or a space is for XYZ, it changes the way that I feel when I'm in that space because it's I've kind of designated in my mind as being this kind of space, but you have like a holy space set aside in your home.
Yeah.
I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
It's a really cool idea.
We love
I'll have to
it.
think about that. I don't have a spare bedroom, but I got spare corners and stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's just when you sit, like Kaleb said, it's awesome that he remembers the chairs, but it's just awesome when you sit down because you're just at rest and it's nice.
I would say, so when one of the first times I was at their Topeka house, he was giving me a tour and he kind of had funny descriptions of every room, which we don't have to get into. But when we went in there, he was like, "This is where I counsel people," and I kind of thought, yeah, we laughed about it. It was kind of a joking. And then there's been times where I have wet the carpet with tears in that room. Sun beats in there. It was a great atmosphere. It was great.
Yeah.
And just sitting across from Marty, some of the best, most influential conversations of my life, I think, have taken place in a room like that. That's just incredible, and it's a testament to Marty's,
Intentionality for sure.
Yeah, intentionality. I don't want to say like just like a lingo discipleship. He's a good disciple but just the way that he pours into a guy and just sits and listens. And me and Marty, Marty is a father figure for me. Somebody that, dang, this sucks, huh? We shouldn't even talk about this. But seriously,
Hey, you did this to
I've
yourself.
gone to Marty.
I'm just listening.
Yeah.
I've gone to Marty in the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. And,
Yeah.
and he's a friend that we could be screaming at each other, and then the next moment, like one of the that's my best kind of friend. Like I need to know me and you can go after each other pretty good, bark a little bit, but then no
accountability and
it means nothing as far as like now we're breaking up. It's not that kind of thing. And so just that room seriously has power, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I haven't got to see the one at the new house, but I imagine it's pretty similar.
That's pretty
just
cool.
a mile from where you were wed.
Yeah.
Pretty easy to get there. I'll tell you that.
He's only been there for a year and a half.
Yeah, it's like just built.
Yeah.
Dude, I love that. So sorry, I didn't mean to derail your story,
No,
but that
no,
was
you're
just
fine.
you said that, and I was like, man, what? I've never thought about that idea to have a kind of that sacred space in your home designated for that. It's cool.
I would say it helps too with like journaling, for instance.
Oh,
because it's
100%.
when you're in there, just like if you're in the garage working on a car, that's what you're doing in there.
Yep.
Like there's not really distractions because that's what you're working on.
Yeah.
When Marty's in his war room or prayer room, whatever he wants to title it, that's what's taking place there.
Yep.
So I think that helps a lot with distractions.
Yeah, and I think that was the main reason was we were able to journal and there's no TV set up in there.
Yeah.
Though I can get YouTube TV on my computer, but but no, there's no TV. There's really no distractions in there. And both our bookcases, you've seen them. They're just, like I said, they're full of old devotionals, old Rooted books. We've been through Rooted several times and taught that. And so it's just awesome to be able to just, it's our library. We
Yeah.
go reference.
Yeah, I was thinking about, I started doing a Bible in a Year legacy Bible that we're doing, that some people are doing in our pathway at the church. And I try to sit down in my back living room to do it. And it's scattered with Paw Patrol toys and cars.
Paw Patrol.
Oh my gosh. And there are some times where I love being in that space because it reminds me of just the life that's happening there. But at the same time, I'm like, it is so distracting sometimes to just have the chaos around me that I'm trying to like, okay, God, I just really want to focus on you right now. But it's really hard to ignore just the insanity of everything
When I've
that's
got
around me.
Ryder and Chase and all of them staring back
You're
at
darn
me.
right.
Yeah. I thought
Mostly
you'd be
Marshall and
impressed.
Rebel. Yeah.
I thought you'd be
I
impressed.
am impressed.
Yeah.
But you have a grandson.
I have a grandson,
Yeah,
so
he knows.
I'm learning, and I'm
Yeah.
hearing the Paw Patrol song
Oh, my.
every
Yeah.
day. So
Yeah. I learned that on ukulele recently.
I
Nice.
love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
He loves that.
That is awesome.
Marty,
You're a good dad.
when you went through this transition, well, I don't want to say transit. 2026 transition means a lot of different things, but
yeah.
when you went through this transformation in life, were your daughters in high school?
Yes. Yeah.
So other than them seeing, did you implement anything in the family as far as living out your faith in the home besides just kind of your own practice?
No.
anything
our daughters, one of the things that, I don't know if disappointed is the right word, one of the things that we just wished was that our kids could have went through the programs, all the kids' programs here.
Yeah.
But they were just older. So I would say it was right on the bubble of when the kids, I know when it was probably at our worst was when they were in high school, that I was at my worst. And it came to a time where realization, my older daughter had already been attending church, and I came to the realization that, hey, we need to do something, or I'm probably not going to be around. And so we reached out, went to church, started getting involved. And, and that's one thing I would say too is it's awesome about going to church, but you've still got to step across that line, whether it's serving or whether it's devotional or whatever drives you. And sometimes even a little past that, if you can get out of your comfort level. But you just need to be more than just attending church.
Yep.
And that's kind of what, for me, that first step was attending church. And then we did get into serving and things like that. But those years, those last 3 years of the kids being in school, high school, and then off to college, those went pretty quick, really. So then I believe that, when I talked to my older daughter, I think we really grew in our faith after they were gone because we really just dove in. We were talking about coming to fellowship and going from starting point to serving.
What a throwback.
Yeah. But going from starting point and then just going from there straight into serving and what more can we do? But my biggest lesson was, and I carry this every day. I had this conversation with our missions director at Westside. I didn't understand when I was serving. I still looked at it as doing a job rather than an opportunity to glorify God and reach out to people. And I think that was my big thing. When you talk about mentorship or pouring into people, that was when the light went off. Tammy and I were giving tours of the new construction here at the church, and we were brand new. We were asking people to serve, and we were like, I don't know how long you've been going to fellowship. And they're like, well, I'm an elder's wife. And we're like, oh, okay. It was something, but we didn't know anybody.
Right. I actually started the church. So,
Yeah, exactly,
But are you serving?
super kind. But one of them actually told me, that was when she said, I can't serve this week, but I can serve in the next coming weeks. And thank you for the opportunity to glorify God. And that's when I wished I remembered who it was. I could probably narrow it down.
Yeah.
But that was my turning point. That was when I went, I get it. And I really believe the Holy Spirit was working in me going, finally, you're seeing this. But And that's what I tell people is it's not a job and it's not work. If it's work, you're doing it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
This is an opportunity to glorify God and let others see God through you or Christ through you. I always told people, I said, when you work at the front door and you're shaking hands, you have no idea what the people are coming through that door.
Yep.
And I said, I always imagined when you reach out with your hand to greet that person, I always think of Peter when he took his eyes off Christ and fell in the water out of the boat, and Christ's hand came through the water and pulled him in. And I always told people, I said, when you're greeting people at the door, that's Christ reaching out and pulling them out of the water. So I don't know. That's just me. But
no, yeah, it speaks to my guest services heart too. And just knowing how many people have come to fellowship. And one of the things that when I talk with new guests and new families that always sticks out to them is just like the layers of warm welcome and hospitality that they experience when they come, is something that I just, not really growing up in the church and coming to fellowship in 2015 and meeting David Hinkle here, it was like, this just became the norm for me. So to think of something other than warm hospitality when I'm gathering with my family just seems bizarre.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it's been such an encouragement to hear that, that people are receiving that when that hand reaches out.
But everybody's doing it not because they have to do it. It's because they really love people.
And sometimes I think it starts there for people, and that kind of
100%. It was with me.
Yeah. And I think even for me and working in ministry starting in 2019, it took until after COVID before I kind of came to that perspective of this isn't just a job. This is this mutual encouragement that when I come, it's not just me pouring out, but I'm receiving so much from the people that this is my family. This isn't just my ministry place. This is my family. And it just totally changed my perspective of gathering with the church and serving in the church. It just, and I'm still carrying that with me, and it sustains me in ministry.
And it's kind of what carried us for Lenexa.
Yeah.
Because when we moved there, we bought a home. We picked a lot, so it's a brand new housing area. They're building about 100 homes, and about 108 in our neighborhood, and then going up. They're all going up quickly, and then across the street they're building, I think, 450 to 500. They haven't started on that phase yet. But the cool thing about that was Tammy and I kept, when we left and I talked to Joe and we talked to different people, and I said, I don't know what God's got planned for us, but I'm excited. And I will admit, when we got there, I was like, okay, God, I'm unpacked. Let's go. And it just wasn't there. And I walk into Westside. That's the church we're attending now. And it took me back 15 years of walking into fellowship, not knowing anybody. And I struggled. I struggled because the love I have for people, and nobody knew how much I had to give, And so we were really struggling. And then one day I just came home and I told Tammy, I said, our mission field is in front of us. We have 100 homes of all brand new people. Nobody's ever lived in this field. And I said, so we took it upon ourselves. So I said, we're going to love on people. And because we don't know, we have people that are recent widows. We have divorced families. We have growing families. And I told Tammy, I said, our mission field is right here. We can show Christ to our neighbors. And one thing that I look back with fellowship was we talked about I used the Bless app.
Yeah.
It doesn't work well in my neighborhood because Google has no idea where we're at. Yeah.
So it's houses are still being built.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a little bit for it. But we used it here. But when I was here, we only had like 2 homes near us. And so it was a little bit, I had to work pretty hard to add names and things on the Bless app. But for us in Lenexa, with 100 homes around us and 400 going across the street, that's going to be awesome. Yeah. But yeah, we're talking about now, we hosted 60 homes with a barbecue, our neighbor and us, just so people could meet each other. And then at Christmas, we did a progressive dinner with 5 other homes and had every neighbor. It keeps getting larger because every home gets built. You get more people. But it has been a real blessing for us. It makes us, like you said, it's a two-way street.
Yeah.
You feel the comfort of people meeting you and appreciating and loving you, and then it's reciprocal. You love them back, right? And in the same time, we're hoping that they see Christ in us. So fast forward to last weekend, I met a block away, a cul-de-sac away, our missions director for our church moves in, and I had not met him until he moved in. I had coffee with him the other day, and I said, I want to start a men's coffee. Just have guys come by the house. And we talked about what that looked like. And I said, I'm a guy that I'm going to get on Facebook and I'm going to say, okay, we need 1,000 men in my kitchen, Yeah. And I started.
Going to need another prayer room or two.
Yeah. Exactly. But I think it might be, I'm, soon to be 61 years old. And I think it might be some maturity that I'm finally getting, that we just talked. And I said, I don't think I'm going to do that. I said, I have a neighbor across the street and a guy down the block that I'd love to show Christ to. And I said, the reality that I've came to is they may not see him in my lifetime. But I can introduce him. And that's moving.
Yeah.
That's moving.
Yep.
But so, and he agreed. He said, I would suggest that you let this organically grow. And he said, and if that's just being a lending ear and talking and having coffee and something regular, that's as important, because he said God and the Holy Spirit is going to work through that room. But so I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
And he asked me, he said, where are you at with that? Where's your planning stage? And I said, well, what do you call the thing right before I've done nothing or made any plans? Because that's exactly where I'm at.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So he sent me a graph on his missions and said, you are here.
Yep.
You're like buying your plane ticket.
Yeah.
Right. But he's a blessing. And I know he's so supportive. And then the cool thing is, right down the street, the opposite side is, I have the director of the global missions for the Church of the Nazarene. And he has hundreds of people hundreds of missionaries reporting to him. And so that influence, and they're both wonderful people. But that influence, I'm so excited.
Yeah. And you made a point there in the middle that I don't want to run away from too quickly, because it just really struck me. It's like, I think we can oftentimes, in thinking about ministry or outreach to our neighbors or even to our own family, we can get really fixated on the fruit that we want to see for them, whether that's just to meet Jesus in general, come to put their faith and trust in him, or to grow in a specific area. And I love that you talked about the idea that it's their salvation, the fruit is not up to us.
Right. Yeah.
And so what can we do to be faithful with the sharing, with the presence, with the consistent rhythms of just meeting together? We can do those things.
Yeah. Yeah,
we can do those things.
And that was the big thing. When I talk to people, I said, even when you're serving, when you're on a missions trip, you always, I can't say you, I would always, like, when they would say, this is what we need, we're like, oh, well, if that's what you need, wait till you see what I got for you.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you 3 times what you want. And then you walk away leaving them confused and shaking their head going, you didn't meet that's not what I needed. You gave me what you thought I needed. And so I've always pulled back from that now. And I credit the Bridge and Chris Stewart with I do mentorship. And I credit Chris with, show up, love, listen, and pray.
Mm-hmm.
And that's with lunch buddies.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we do. And if you can't implement that with everyone,
Yeah.
is just be consistent and show up and have that ear. And you both know I'm like, I talk all the time. So it's tough for me,
Mm-hmm.
but I do need to, I have to step back
Mm-hmm.
and listen and then just love on them, man.
Yep.
Just love on them. And so, like Kaleb said, sometimes love can be a lot of different languages. You know, we can. Sometimes accountability is in there, so you can't support if they're going down the wrong road. But you can absolutely say, "Hey, I'm going to stand with you, but this is where I stand."
Yep.
You know, Hank always said, "Meet them at the cross,
Mm-hmm.
be with them, but don't become them
Mm-hmm.
to communicate." You know, so yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, it made me think of the story of, the friends lowering the paralyzed man through the roof in front of Jesus, and his first reaction was to forgive him before healing him.
Yeah.
And, he gave him what he knew he needed more than what he wanted. Now, we don't have the benefit of having omniscience and knowing everything, so we have to listen first to figure out what people really need to be able to do that, and then we can step in and help.
Yeah.
But the way that you unpacked that was really helpful.
Yeah,
I like
appreciate that.
Yeah.
Persistence too.
Mm-hmm.
Like Marty has stories of people that he's been friends with for many, many, many years, and he doesn't change himself to do any convincing, right? Like he is him, shares Jesus, loves like Jesus. Feel free to follow.
Mm-hmm.
And they may follow or they may never follow, like you said, but you also have stories of people that have decided, you know what, let's go check out the church thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like just simple persistence, and it's not like some project he's
Mm-hmm.
working on. He's just him.
Yep.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah. I think the big thing about that is for everybody that knows me and knows Marty, I'm an idiot. I mean, there are times that you'd look at me and go, well, that's the definition of a broken man right there. I mean, I would love to be able to, and that's my goal, is always in the end game is to be more and more like Christ.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're driven to do, and that's what we're to become. But man, I do a great job of not doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take 3 steps back. But when I look at that, my thing is people that have known me from even growing up, if I can be this faith-based and love Christ like this, so can you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the reasons we have Facebook accounts, and that's what, my wife and I share one, but we use that as a tool just to prove to people and say, listen, if I can do this as a man and just put it out there, you can too.
Mm-hmm.
Be vulnerable. Be able to take that step and just realize that you don't have to carry everything on your back, and you don't have to be that guy.
Yep.
You can have friends that hold you accountable,
Mm-hmm.
and that you hold them accountable. And I think that's what it's all about.
And sometimes I think it means more to hear it from somebody who's just like me, and I think it's daunting sometimes for people to look at people in ministry, men and women who serve in the church, and be like, well, I'm not a pastor, or I can't do these things. I can't follow God this way. But the reality is, like, we're all just people who are trying our darndest to follow Jesus, follow his teachings, follow his way, the way that he cares for people, loves the Father. But there's just something authentic and true about seeing somebody who just loves Jesus because you have found him to be true, and you found him to be worth following, and you're just a neighbor. You're not something above and beyond anything other than just the guy next door, and yet that has the potential to speak more to them than that your missions pastor, or even the missions board director of the Church of the Nazarene. I think there is so much power in stories of somebody who's, hey, I was just like you. Yeah. And this is how Jesus met me.
And just an outward, like, living. So some of my favorite stories are stories of, I'm going to say Marty and Tammy's cancer journey, because they're a pair, but Tammy, who's like one of the strongest human beings you'll ever meet, seeing what all she's gone through and hearing the stories. But one of my favorite stories ever, which I won't tell the story, I'd love for you to if you want to, but is when you guys went to the ER, you guys did not share the gospel with anybody. Yeah. And can you tell that story
without breaking down?
Oh, dude, it's okay. Go ahead.
I'm excited.
Oh, it's yeah. I'll probably get emotional, but Tam had been in remission a year, and she was having extreme trouble, pain in her side, extreme. And I drove her. I won't tell you how I got there, but we made it from Topeka to Kansas City quickly. And, well, I'll tell you this. They told us, the hospital said, we called them and they said, stop at Lawrence. And I said, dude, I just went 90 through the turnpike toll on the other side of Lawrence.
Yeah.
We'll be there in a minute. Yeah. Literally. But no, we get there and we knew it was probably the cancer. And the cancer that she has is extremely aggressive, and they thought they had it, and it had moved, it had spread. We found later that it had spread to her liver, her spine, a lot of places in her body. And so when they did the x-rays and we saw the x-rays, we knew that the lesions through her liver were what they were. We saw them really before. Yeah. So they brought in, this was on a weekend, and they brought in the head of the ER, brought him in from home, because nobody wanted to tell anybody that they have cancer. And he came in, and it was Tammy and I and the doctor and a nurse. And he came in and he said, we looked at this x-ray and these are tumors and you have cancer. And Tammy didn't even blink. She said, okay, what do we need to do? And I said, we've been through this. And we said, listen, and we told them, we're faith-based people. We love Jesus, and we're going to walk through this. And he said, well, if you're good with this, we need to get you immediately from this room into the hospital and do this, this, and this, and be able to get you set up on treatment. And we said, let's go. And so they just literally unplug the bed, everything. And the bed and everything, they just, 5 people come in. She's gone. And in the room, literally, is my chair, me, my backpack, and a nurse looking at this computer that's tied to the wall. And she turns around and looks at me. It says, tell me about this, Jesus.
Wow.
And it was amazing. I'm sorry, but it was amazing because she saw Christ in us and the confidence that we had. And that was, tell me about this, Jesus. And she had told us, she said, I see the worst of life in here every day, but I don't see that. So that was pretty cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Thanks, Kaleb.
Yeah.
One of my favorite stories ever. And they're filled with
story.
Them. Because that's just how they live.
Yeah.
Again, he didn't go in there and like megaphone, repent. It wasn't that. But just in how they presented themselves and carried themselves through a horrible, horrible circumstance, this lady's just like, tell me more.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool. It was just, it chokes me up. But it was awesome because her back was to me, and then she just kind of turns and says that. And I was not ready for it at all. Because when you're living it, it does kind of catch you off guard a little bit because it's so interwoven in our being that when we impact others, sometimes not intentionally at all.
Right.
It's
almost a surprise.
Yeah. So that was cool. I wasn't ready for you to talk about that one. I thought it was a different story. So thanks for that. But I do.
Yeah.
I say it's so hard. I don't want to get emotional about those things, but it's such a moving
it's
thing.
powerful.
I know. I'm a dude.
Yeah, I get you.
But I don't just practice what I preach.
Fair.
Yeah.
But I mean, that is exactly what Scripture says would happen when we live our lives in such a way that even the Gentiles, even the people who are outside of the family of God, would see your faith and glorify God. And to always be ready to give a defense for the hope that you have. And when you live your life in a way that doesn't make sense to the world around you, those questions are going to come.
And the crazy thing is those moving moments are always, for me, they're always, when I talked about my mom and being in that hallway when they whisk her off right after she got out of surgery. And she was in so much pain. And they whisk her off, and I'm there by myself. Mm-hmm. And then in this room where Tammy's taken out, and it's literally just a chair and me, and I'm facing this person. It's not about hospitals, but it's about kind of being at the end of your rope, that all the distractions are gone. There's nothing to hide behind, but it's just you and God. And that presence of, maybe sometimes it's just, that's what has to be for me, is that everything has to be gone to where I just look up and say, okay, I know you've been here the whole time, but it took all of that to shed from me before I see it. So, yeah.
Dude, good job making him tell that story.
Marty's one of the only people in my life that I can look at. And so, what would Jesus do, right? And, Paul says, imitate me as I imitate Christ. There are moments in my life where I can say, what in the heck would Marty and Tammy do? And I know I keep saying both of them because genuinely they are a incredible representation of marriage being one. Ugh. And so I can genuinely ask that question and be like, first of all, it's very humbling when I can feel like I need to complain, and then I look at them and I'm like, shut up. To myself, right? And then just the fact that I've gone to Marty for advice many times, and there's been many times where before I'm done talking, Marty's trying to give me his opinion, and I'm like, Marty, shut up and let me talk. I'm not ready to hear what you have to say yet. Let me get it out. And but genuinely, like the weight of his opinion or advice is just incredible, because I can. In my opinion, I feel like I can confidently look at Marty and be like, the quote in my head can go through is, imitate me as I imitate Christ. So like if I'm going to Marty for advice, he's not giving me anything I want to hear, unless maybe it coincides, which is pretty rare. Usually it's about the polar opposite of what I want to hear. But if I line it up with Jesus's teachings, it's like, he got you there. He's making it pretty hard to argue, right? But it's just incredible, and they're just filled with these stories of through the toughest times. It's like, there's Jesus.
Yeah. Let's be clear. I'm afraid of Tammy. She's
the powerhouse.
She is such a beautiful, humble servant. Yeah, and just so small in front of Christ. When she prays and when she stands, she just becomes so small in his presence. But believe me, when the door closes, she's in charge. Yeah, I can guarantee you that. That's so funny. She's too strong for me.
That's so funny.
I'm like Kaleb. I complain. You can't complain. So she's awesome. Yeah,
strength through a lot of suffering. For sure.
Yes. Our difference in age definitely keeps us safe. Like if me and Marty were raised at the same time became friends, it probably would.
I can't even imagine. You guys have probably been enemies.
Well, we'd be probably in jail
together. Probably cellmates.
I don't have the strength to jiu-jitsu and wrestling either, so I just watch.
That's why I brought him on, to scare our guests.
Yeah,
his jiu-jitsu strength.
Exactly. No, I get beat up all the time. Believe me.
Well, Marty, as you kind of look at just men in our church, as we kind of look to a new year, what encouragements or advice would you give to guys who are just kind of looking to this new year and just wondering what God has in store, what would you say to them?
Yeah, I honestly, I would say, don't do stuff alone. Don't try to do things alone. Even if it's just developing a coffee guy or somebody to talk to. I mean, and I'm not talking diving deep into scripture. I mean, that's ultimately, I'd love it.
Mm-hmm.
But there are so many times that we just walk through life and we stay that mundane. Everything's bottled up inside, and it's amazing to me when you get a group of guys and close a door, and if one person is vulnerable, they find out it's not just me, and that's not, guys look at that as the stereotypical, well, that's soft or that, and it's not. It's guys need it,
and it's often harder.
It is harder. Hank told me one time, because I walked through this, we do a really good job. Guys do a really good job of carrying a bag on their back. And every mistake that they've made, everything that they've done, they just keep adding to their back, to that bag. And Hank told me one day, he goes, dude, you got to let go of the bag.
Mm-hmm.
Christ has done this for you. There is no reason for you to carry that bag. And I let it go.
Yeah.
I let it go. And, sometimes I try to run back and pick it up.
Yeah.
But I've got guys around me. And that's why I say, get a coffee buddy, get these guys, because they will remind you. Keith Sowards is a beautiful friend of mine. And probably, I would say, the closest guy I've got through our faith has always supported me and will call me out. And without him, I wouldn't have a person that and I had to find somebody older than me too.
It's
he's
hard to
really
do.
old, really old. I'm
How
old.
old
He's
is
really old.
What, 62?
He came over on the Mayflower.
Oh my God.
But
Keith, if you're listening to this, we're so sorry for having Marty on. Please forgive us.
but no, I hope they all get a Keith.
Yeah.
I really do. And I would tell guys, just attend, listen to the word. Take the time to discuss with guys, but the biggest thing is just get a friend and be regular with them.
Yep.
Not like, well, I'm going to do this because I heard this, and then you never do it again because something came up that made you uncomfortable.
Yep.
Dive into that.
Stick it out.
Yeah, man.
Love that. And that's right in line with the Awake study that we're going through. It is all about how do you build that kind of deep friendship that lasts and that sharpens and is on mission. So that's right in line with where we're going, where the Lord has led us. So I love hearing that.
Yeah. And, and the other thing, and I credit fellowship for this, but I went back and talked about the bless your neighbor. We live in a community of 100 people. Without us implementing that, we probably would have lived there for however long we're going to live there. But we probably would have known our next door neighbor, probably the person across the street. We know every home now. And we literally, it's almost a thing. Tammy, we'll go down the road, and Tammy's like, oh, well, that's Bob and Judy. And this, and I met them, and they're from, Wichita. And without reaching out and loving on people through blessing our neighbors, we would have never done that. And so to have this as a community, and hopefully a community of faith someday, that I would just encourage people to be bold, get out of your comfort zone, lean forward, whether it's one person or a neighborhood.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Marty, thank you so much
thanks
for making
for
the
the
drive and the
opportunity, man.
trip. Dude, we love getting to talk with you, and we miss you, and we're thankful that you took the time to come and be with us today. I know a lot of guys are going to be encouraged by seeing your face, hearing your voice, and hearing your stories, and testifying to the power of God. Marty is still around, just an hour away.
And older.
And just a little bit older.
Yeah.
Well, guys, thank you for tuning into another episode of the Not Just Sundays podcast, where our hope is that you would be equipped to be intentional in your home and available in the world, and that these stories would be an encouragement for you to see what it looks like to just live a life of faith in the everyday stuff of life. We look forward to seeing you next time.